Welcome to more Crash and Sane trilogy. We're finally doing another Crash game.
I almost bought this specific game a while ago.
Why didn't you?
Because it was $20.
$20 for 3 great platformers. Who could have?
But Final Fantasy X for the original PS2 was $5.
Okay, then buy both. Yeah, we're
But
continuing.
you see, Final Fantasy X-2 with that was an additional $8.
Shut up! I don't care.
Both of them for less than the price of Crash 2.
Shut the fuck up! Fucking Final Fantasy is nowhere near this commentary. We are playing Crash 2. And yeah, we pretty much, like, if you remember, well, you probably don't, but at the end of the last Crash playthrough, Cortex fell from his big flying blimp in the sky, and we're picking up pretty much directly after that because these games are pretty cool with how they link the stories like that.
I see he has his own Igor.
Yep, that is Engine.
Calling him Igor.
Okay, well, he's less of a hunchback and more of a no-neck.
I'm glad you got the reference.
And now we also have Coco Bandicoot, Crash's sister. Because I guess Tana was too evocative for children. That is actually why they made Coco.
That's funny.
Because Tana was a little too voluptuous, I guess.
I wonder how well that game did in Japan. I feel like they would have liked that.
I think in Japan, Coco is more popular than Tana ever was, so...
Well, little sisters, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. We got.
I know you're not paying attention to anime, but, like... There's, like, 5 different shows airing right now that have a little sister in it.
Fantastic. Great. I'm so happy for Japan. But yeah, we got a few new moves this time. We got the slide, the belly flop, and that's pretty much it. But that's all you really need for this game. It feels really good. And going to Crash 1 after playing so much Crash 2 and 3 is really hard because you just miss those moves.
Yeah.
Because they're like those simple additions that just add so much. Like, you can do slide jumps, crouch jumps, belly, like, you know, a lot of different stuff. You can do slide spins to go really fast, which you'll see me doing a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, how I'm doing this playthrough, we're going to be doing one of the warp rooms per part, I think. So we're going to be doing the first 5 levels here, getting everything that we can in them, and doing the boss, and then we'll, end the part there. So
I like the rain effect on this.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It doesn't really...
I wonder how it looks on the PS1 though. So it's like one of the things I know we're playing the Insane trilogy, but I kind of wish to see like what the PS1 original looks like, but yeah, one day.
I don't think there is rain in this section on the original. I think it's just like a little foggy.
Why are you skipping past all the boxes? Aren't you supposed to get everything?
Well, you see, yes, we are. But this level specifically has a little extra mission if you are quote unquote nice to the boxes.
Oh, that's really funny. Immediately after the first game, they're already destroying expectations.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, hey, that was the crystal Cortex wanted us to get. Fuck him.
It was a what?
The crystal that Cortex wanted us to get was sitting in the path there. Fuck him. We're not getting it right now.
Okay.
You get a little extra scene here if you do not get the crystal.
He actually pulled that out of his ass. Oh my goodness.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, you get a little extra cutscene here with Cortex if you don't grab the crystal. God damn it, you dumb fuck.
So why are we working with him?
Well, he needs the crystals to, because, like, in the last game, he wanted the gems so he could, power his, like, laser. And, of course, Crash defeated him, so he falls to Earth, and he's like, there's another power source that we can get, the crystals. But, according to Engine, they have no Earthbound operatives left. So Cortex was like, I'll just trick Crash into doing it for me.
Okay.
Because he's a dumbass. Crash will do literally whatever you tell him to every single time. He has full
So
faith
his
in everyone.
girlfriend. So in the first game, if his girlfriend said "save me," which she did, and Cortex said "don't do it," would he have stopped?
Potentially, yeah. Wait, Crash. If you don't save her, I'll give you a Wumpa fruit. Ooh. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much Cortex just being like, yes, Crash, I need these crystals because there's a, I don't know, the world is in peril and I need them. Go do it.
Yeah.
And you do the crystals are the collectible you actually have to get. Everything else is optional. Getting all the box gems and everything does get you an alternate ending, which is neat. But you have to progress through each of the warp rooms. You have to get all the crystals in each of the levels, and then quote unquote give them to whoever the boss is. But then you just beat up the boss because why not? Yeah.
Is there ways? Oh, you can just jump up there.
Yeah, with the slide spin, with the slide jump spin, which is when you do a slide, you jump to get the height of a crouch jump, and then you do a spin, you get even more height by doing the spin.
Is the game designed with that in mind, or do you just kind of learn it?
It is not necessarily designed for it in mind, as in that you never need to do it. But you can, kind of not break the game, but you can kind of like skip some platforms here and there with it. It's pretty good. It was actually a bug in the original game, but they kept it for the remake, because people would probably get pissed off if they removed it. I believe, though, Crash 4 does not have it. When you do a slide jump, you just get the crouch jump height, and that's it.
Is it in the third game as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a chance that Naughty Dog just didn't know it existed, when they made the third game, because all three of these games were made less than a year apart from one another. Because 90s game development is just fucking crazy, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, outside of the addition of new moves, do these feel like level packs? Or do they feel like fully new games?
They're not level packs. They're definitely new games. Like Crash 2 introduces a lot more than just the new moves. You get like secret backdoor entrances into levels for extra, routes and hidden gems and stuff. That's this game's big addition, and this game also introduces the death platforms, which are in the stages. You have to get up to a certain point in the stage without dying to be able to access the death route, which usually just has like another gem on it, but it's like a super extra challenging path in the level to try and get an extra gem
that you can't get without already dying. Okay.
Yeah, if you die, but as long as you reach the platform, even if you die after reaching it, the platform will always stay there.
And two Chaos Emeralds already? Nice.
Yeah. And they're both silver.
He's so terrified of the talking head.
I think he's just confused. I don't even know if he's listening. He's just like,
He's looking at the floating orb, protecting it.
Yeah, he's
not
like,
even looking at
whoa, whoa, that thing is cool. That camera is actually like an enemy in Crash 1 that they're just reusing for for this cutscene thing. Also, the remake kind of flubs up these cutscenes a little bit. In the original, there's like more of a staticky effect going on. But in this, it's just like the heads just kind of pop in and out. Like they have a little animation of them popping in and then popping out. But in the original, there was like a cool static effect, especially for when Coco would interrupt the transmission. There'd be like more staticky noises and shit. So that's like one thing that I would say the remake doesn't get right. Otherwise, these remakes are pretty freaking excellent. Though, yeah, that is a big difference. I personally prefer the original Crash 2 over this. Purely because I think the weight of Crash and his movement is just more satisfying in the original. And of course, I love the low poly aesthetic for these games.
Yeah.
But, you know, I started recording Crash 1 with the Insane, so I figured I'd stick with the Insane trilogy.
Well, I got a PS1, so maybe if I ever try these games, I can try out the PS1 originals if I find them.
Yeah. Weirdly, I think... Okay, I think I might just be thinking of the PS Vita. But for some reason on the PS Vita store, the Crash games are not on it unless you're in, like, a European region or Japan.
I'd say I'm pretty sure they're in the American PS3 store. I guess I can play them there, but like, I got a PS1. I want an excuse to use it.
I would recommend getting a disc because even if you play it on a PS3, for some reason the digital versions of the Crash trilogy only have D-pad movement available to you. Even if you try to turn on analog stick movement in the menu, it'll immediately change it back to D-pad movement. But if you have the disc,
movie on PS1?
yeah, like the Crash 1 is only designed for D-pad movement, but Crash 2 onward, they actually implement analog stick movement. Okay, so my dumbass, I don't really know how this happened when I was recording, but I just completely didn't see that fucking crystal there. I walked straight fucking past it. So, yeah, I genuinely have no fucking clue how I missed that.
So the disc version is a more up-to-date version of the game that actually features DualShock features.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It has an analog stick movement. Though weirdly, like I recommend people play that way. But for me, I really don't mind D-pad movement for these Crash games because, you know, they are very linear. And the D-pad really doesn't feel bad to use, especially like in Crash 1 and 2. It feels a lot better in Crash 3 to use the analog stick because you have more stuff like different vehicles and whatever. Mm-hmm. But just for the basic 3D platforming, the D-pad works just fine for these games. And this is Embryo from the first game. We didn't really get much, like, literally any story with him. He was just one of the boss fights in the first game.
Yeah, I completely forgot he existed.
In the first cutscene, he's the guy being like, but Dr. Cortex, the Cortex vortex is blah, 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 blah. And then Cortex is like, no, activate it anyway, you bitch. But that's, like, literally all we get of Embryo. Yeah, from now on, he's more of an actual character in the series. But yeah, so he wants us to get the gems.
You said this game was developed, like each game was developed pretty much a year after the other.
Yeah.
What?
Yes. I went back for the crystal.
Oh.
That was my transition.
Do you think any of the design in 2 or 3 suffer from that low development time?
Not really. It really, like, for my personal enjoyment, this is the peak of Crash, the original trilogy at least. But like Crash 3 is still like a really good game. The only reason it's like lesser in my eyes is because of the higher focus on like vehicles and whatever.
So would you put Crash 2 then as like the peak?
Yeah, Crash 2 is my favorite of the trilogy. Crash 4 is probably my favorite Crash game, period. That game is just too fucking good, even if I hate the completion requirements. But, yeah. Yeah, but Crash 2, before Crash 4 came out, was, yeah, the best Crash game, in my opinion.
Okay.
And Suicide. This is an actual strat. In this level, there's a countdown timer that you have to race to the end. And you get a gem for beating it. But if you don't grab any of the checkpoints along the way, you can just kill yourself after getting the gem and then go back and do the box gem normally. And yeah,
I'm
you
glad
can do
this
it
version lets you still do it.
Yeah. See, that's the shit that makes my blood boil in Crash 4, is because you can't do that shit in Crash 4 because they have the perfect run relic where you have to do everything without dying. So that just means if there's any backtracking you have to do in like the stages, you know, where you can't turn the camera around or anything, that means you have to manually walk back in the level.
Fun.
And yeah, Crash 4 trying to complete it is pain. But that's just a standard platformer. That's like the core goodness of Crash 4 for me is just the base platforming design is so damn good that I don't need to go and get all the boxes for it to be a fun game.
I'm sad you left that previous era. I was really enjoying the music.
Oh yeah, the bonus room musics are all good. They're all like each level gets a bonus platform track and a death platform track, as well as, you know, the main stage track. And they're all like remixes of one another, so right now we're hearing the death platform remix.
Yeah.
Even though we're on a gem platform. I don't think they have specific songs for the gem platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One day I'll get to hear it again whenever I stream playing this game or something.
Yeah. I think
Is the soundtrack redone?
Yeah, it's not the originals.
How
They
different
remix
is it from the original? Is it just more arranged, less synthy?
Yeah, it's just not using the PlayStation 1 sound font anymore. So, you know, it's got all like better sounding instruments and everything.
Does the PS1 require you use its sound font, or can you play anything off of it?
Well, it's CD based, so it can have, you know, actual CD quality music. But I think a lot of games opted not to do that just to save on file space, because, you know, sound files are large.
Right.
So.
Well, we were just talking about before this how a game I have probably got its file space doubled just because I had the soundtrack purchased.
Yeah, that'll do it. MP3s are not to be fucked with.
Yeah, it's worth it. I want that soundtrack, man. It's the only game from that particular series, which will go unnamed because I'm a dick, that you can buy the soundtrack digitally for.
Yeah. I mean,
it's Azure Striker Gunvolt. That's what it is.
Wouldn't the like base game though include the MP3s?
I don't know how music is stored in a lot of games. Like, I'll look at the files and I can't find the music tracks anywhere. So I don't know where it's compiled in the data. Maybe you have to pull it out of them.
I have no clue. I mean, it might just be bundled up with the executable file, but I'm the software engineer and I don't fucking know how that shit works.
And I think a lot of it in game gets compressed as well, so it's not the so it's not like the full track. And some games like Doom or Red Dead, because they use stems for their soundtracks, if you try pulling out individual music files, you'd probably just get like a 10-second clip of some synth or guitar track playing. But I don't know how the music itself is constructed in game.
I don't know. I mean, then if they sold the soundtrack, they could just sell a little executable file that emulates the music like it does in the game.
Dude, that'd be so cool if, like, you could buy... If, like, Bethesda made a music player that let you add different tracks and such from Doom levels.
Mm-hmm.
So you could mix in different parts of Mick Gordon's combat or Mick Gordon's music. But it also adds a lot of charm to the soundtrack where you get to hear kind of a version of the song that is actually coherent.
Yeah.
And it can be played the whole time and isn't necessarily made for a video game.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the tracks have very different structures and even parts cut out in the actual soundtrack. So it makes going to both worth it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But anyways, for the to actually talk about Crash 2 for a little bit, it wasn't a problem when I initially played this game, but after having gone and played, Crash 4, this game is kind of easy.
Yeah.
Like this game was home to like some infamous like levels where you have to do a whole bunch of like weird stuff to get completion on the level, and like everyone knew, oh, these are the hard Crash levels. But then like every single level in Crash 4 is like that. And sometimes even freaking worse. So like, like it had like hidden boxes all throughout the levels that you can't normally see unless you're like out looking for them specifically. It has, backtracking routes. It has gem routes. It has all these different things that you need to do just to get completion in one level. Every level in Crash 4 is like that. And now playing Crash 2 after playing so much Crash 4, I kind of miss the overly fucking hard challenge that Crash 4 is. Obviously, you won't have trouble with that when you play this game. But it is now like a
You're
problem.
right, I'm going to start with the ones everybody hates.
Yeah, Mind Over Mutant. Play that one.
Yeah. I don't know what that is.
But, like, I don't know. It is a genuine problem I have with this game now. I think Crash is at its best when it's kind of, ball-bustingly hard. And this game really isn't ball-bustingly hard. So, kind of sucks. If I replayed Crash 1 and then did a Crash 2 playthrough right after it, I may end up preferring Crash 1 now, just because, I prefer Crash games when they're a lot harder. And I think Crash 1 is easily the hardest of the original trilogy. Crash 3 is pretty challenging only when you're going for the, like, speedrun relics.
Yeah.
Which you have to do in that game to get completion. But even then, like, you don't have to get the absolute best time possible.
Does this game have a bullshit cut level like the one from Crash 1?
Unfortunately not. I don't actually know if there was one, like, in development that they didn't add for the DLC. I feel like if there was, they would have added it as DLC. But Crash 2 is the only game in this trilogy that doesn't have a DLC level, and that kind of sucks. I really would have liked a Crash 2 like super challenging level, But like they made one up for Crash 3. Because Crash 3 didn't have any cut levels like that either.
Maybe it's
but they
because
made
Crash
a whole
3 had
new
the
one.
full moveset.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. It'd be kind of, I don't know. I feel like the more limited moveset of this game compared to Crash 3 could have made for a really cool level. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it kind of makes, the more I'm talking about it, it kind of makes me more disappointed in this game. But I love this game. I think it's still one of the greats from this era, I would say. And it kind of set like a weird precedent. This is like the thing. Nintendo, other than like the original 8-bit Mario trilogy, pretty much every new console they made only ever got like one new Mario game from after that point. But like every other developer, Sonic or Sega, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, were like, no, we have to have a full trilogy of games on this one platform for some reason.
Oh, I would cut Sonic out of that conversation.
Sonic 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles, CD, kinda included in there.
I meant going on from like Xbox One and shit. So that only has Sonic Forces.
Well, I'm talking just from this era, this time frame.
Oh.
Like everyone else was like, we need to milk the crap out of these franchises.
Yeah. Well, Sonic 1 and 2 came out like right around the time that direct sequels were becoming an actual idea and somewhat tolerated.
Yeah.
So I think it was just new then. So nobody was doing it. You know, there's not really a direct sequel to Mario 1. Because Mario 3 is very, very different,
there's
you know?
the Lost Levels.
And there's no really direct sequel to Zelda 1, you know?
Yeah. Which, is fair. But there's, like... I think, like, Nintendo kept that tradition maybe a little too much, because other than, like... Up until, like, Galaxy 1 and 2, and then 3D Land and World, Mario games were like just one thing, and that was all they were, and they never got like any sequels or anything. And they're kind of, it seems like, going back to that, because I don't think they're making Mario Odyssey 2.
Yeah, but like even then, like think about Galaxy and Galaxy 2, where Galaxy 2 is effectively a level pack.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have a hub world.
Yeah, so the only like true proper sequel then would be 3D World to 3D Land, or 3D Land to 3D World, because that does take the ideas of 3D Land and evolve it in some ways, and makes it more than just a level pack.
I think there's merits for both, because like I love how special each Mario game feels, but at the same time, if I were really in love with Crash, having two other games that I could play like it and have a ton of fun with would have just been the greatest thing ever as a kid.
Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of Mario fans were like, where's my Mario 64 2? Which, was actually something they were making. It just never finished. Or I think Miyamoto said in interviews he got too held up working with the Zelda team for Ocarina of Time. So, I don't know.
I like this guy. I love his laugh.
He's one of the recurring bosses of the series. In the first game, if you remember, we were like also on a waterfall type environment, and we were like, there were like big TNTs coming down from the waterfall that you had to jump in time so that he would land next to it right when it explodes. This is the same guy. He's now literate, which is cool. He went and got his college degree after the defeat in Crash 1.
I'm proud of him.
Which is actually something in Crash 1 if you like they did like a whole like where are they now thing at the end of Crash 1. It did say that Ripper Roo went and got his college degree. So I appreciate the little touches of continuity in the Crash series. It means nothing because the story absolutely doesn't matter, but it adds like just that little bit of like, oh, they cared a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.